Okay. Now I should be visible. Hello, everyone. Okay, we're going to start today's webinar. This is an intro to the new iteration of the React course, React course 2024. Today's webinar will be comprised of several parts. So we will start from the intro. I will make some kind of overview of our course using presentation. Later, we will delve into more details about the course, about what you can expect, about what tasks you will have to accomplish, and we will try to give you some more details about how we will interact with you, and some other prerequisites, how which APIs you can use for those, which tools you can use, these kind of things. During the session, please don't hesitate to put your questions in the chat. We would try to answer those. So there are representatives of our team who are already in the chat, and they will try to reply. Also, I will try to save some time, so at the end we could walk through those messages and have a small Q&A session. So I will try to answer those questions. Let me introduce myself. My name is Igor Krashuk. I'm currently working at EPAM Systems as lead software engineer. I have more than 10 years experience working in web development, and with various technologies like .NET on the back end. I've been working with AngularJS, Angular on the front end, Vue.js, and of course React is one of my main passions, and I hope that I would be able, together with my marvelous team, to give you some overview of what React is, and I hope that it will be a foundation for your journey in the world of front-end development, in the world of React. And also, let me congratulate all of you who came here passing previous stages. We assume that the majority of you came in from the previous stages, but it's fine if you are going just to learn React. We've listed all the prerequisites for this course, so hope that if you fulfill those, that's fine. Okay, and now let me remove my face from the presentation. Okay, I made myself back. Okay, am I audible? Could you please chat, message me in the chat if I'm audible? Oh crap! Just give me a second. Okay. Okay, now it should be okay. Okay, cool. I can. Please text again if you can hear me, just to be sure that we can move on. Okay, cool. Okay, then I'm starting again. So the course starts today, on the 1st of July. There are 11 topics. There are 5 tasks to study the essentials of React. To be honest, React is much broader than just those 11 topics, but we try to condense the essentials of React into those. Uh, so you could cover the most important things, and as I mentioned, this could serve as a foundation for your ongoing learning. We also try to include some theoretical tests, which will help you to like deepen your knowledge on the studied material. Again, we hope that you will be studying everything thoroughly. Believe me, all the things which we try to give you are important. It's very crucial not to skip anything. After those 11 topics and 5 tasks and 6 weeks, there will be 4 more weeks for the final tasks, for the final task. And this final task you will do as one team comprised of 3 people. And we will end on 15th of September. I think that this date might be shifted a little bit. This depends, of course, on how good you will be in dealing with all those tasks. Maybe there will be some issues, but approximately let's think about 15th of September. Okay, moving on. Great. So what those first 6 weeks will be all about? We tried to put several topics into each of those weeks, so you can cover like them together, like not just concentrate of one specific topic, right? But more like encompass everything. Yes, so week first is will be about setting up your project, looking into the class components and error boundaries, and like here, just a quick note, like class components, we constantly receiving those questions about whether it's worth studying class components in 2024. Well, we think that it's still worth it because there are a lot of, let's say, not legacy project, but there are still a lot of projects which rely on class component. And to be honest, to understand things like React life cycle, it's really good to understand how the class components work. But anyway, we would devote only 1 week for the class components, and starting from the week 2, you will be starting working with hooks. React router, which also will be based on React hooks, we will add tests, and starting from week 2, you will be also adding tests for your code. Week 3 and week 4 will be devoted to the similar topics, to the same topics, context API on one hand, and like Redux with Redux Toolkit and Redux Toolkit Query on the other hand. Of course, there are a lot of different state management tools. And besides Redux, we have Mobix, we have Zustand, you have Recoil. And we hope that in the future you would try and learn something else like besides Redux. But still, Redux is used in many projects, and it would be good to understand the basics. Like, as I mentioned, we try to focus on the basics. Week 5, server-side rendering and server-side generation using Next.js and Remix. Yeah, don't be afraid of those scary things. We consider that SSR and SSG is a must for the current, for the nowadays front-end developer, specifically for the React developer, and Next.js is kind of like an industry standard nowadays. But we would also want to give you some alternative review on Remix, which will be a part of React Router, starting with React Router version 7. But more on this, we will we will get this information while studying the materials. So yeah, bear with us. And week 6 will be quite a kind of isolated thing. It will be devoted just to forms. All the tasks will be checked during the cross-check, and despite you will have mentors, scores you will get during those cross-checks reviews. But mentors, yeah, mentors are important. I'm sorry. Mentors could and basically should review your code, give you advices. So um, for those of you who will get mentors, probably it will be a little bit easier. But coming back to this another pain topic, mentors is not a must to finish the course. So you can finish a course without having a mentor. And each week we'll have a dedicated theoretical test. I guess I've already mentioned this, but yeah, just another time. And final task. So for the final task, you will be building let's say, a custom tool for making requests. You can consider it as a custom implementation of Postman or Graphical or Funder client for VS Code, if you are familiar with it. If not, so I encourage you to download these extensions and start using it right from the first week. So for the final task, we also we will also make some changes into the requirements. So for now, I don't think you need to delve into much details. Start from the first 6 tasks, from the first 5 tasks, from the first 6 weeks. And for the final task, we will have a dedicated session where we will describe much more details. I've already touched the topic of having mentors, but one more time, like not all the students will have mentors. There will be interview, and interview will be granted for those mostly who will have mentors. So if you don't have mentors, it might be possible that you will be able to pass an interview, but again, not all the students will have a possibility to pass an interview. But again, as I mentioned, like this course doesn't require a mentor. It is self-paced. Communication. Like main communication channel is Discord, and we will try to track all your issues, all your questions, and respond to them in a timely manner. But you need to understand that sometimes it's very hard, especially when we have a lot of questions coming one after another one. And again, sometimes questions might not be relevant. Sometimes people just being a little bit lazy and do not check the documentation thoroughly. So yeah, we will try to answer your questions, but we also would provide you a form like for each of those tasks, for each of those weeks, basically. We will give you the form where we will try to gather your questions, and all those questions together with answers will be provided in the Google Sheet, and we will give you this document. We'll share it in the Discord later today. So you can consider this like an FAQ, like frequently asked questions. So before posting the questions using this form, please check it in the Google Sheet. So if there might be a possibility that similar question has been asked already. So, okay, and yeah, thank you for your attention. This was a quick intro to what we are going to give you. So, okay, I will bring myself back here. Okay, cool. So I hope that I am visible again. And I will try to walk you one more time through the course, but this time, like I would touch on those details. So this is a course program which is available as on our GitHub, so you can check it. You can see that here we have different sections. I mean that like we have this program split into the weeks, and each week has its own task. So each week also has topics which will be used for tests. You can see this. So how to read this program? First and foremost, you have theory. So you can go to the theory section, which will have a model overview. Well, it will have some learning objectives. And what is most important, it will have theory. Those resources which are put into the theory section, basically are mandatory, right? It's very important that you walk through them, you will read through them, you will watch them. Also, we have some additional resources. So it's possible, not possible. We understand that you all are busy and you don't have much time. So some of the resources, of course, it would be hard to cover, but you can bookmark them, you can make notes, and I hope that you would be able to walk through those additional resources maybe um, after completion of this course. But yeah, this thing, the main part theory is really like it's mandatory. Try to at least walk through them, through those resources. This applies like to all those sections. Okay, so one more thing which I wanted to mention, it's about general requirements for all the tasks. Again, as I mentioned, like Discord is the main source of communication. But we will try to give you this form. I will share it in the Discord, and you can provide your questions together with your GitHub account and email to us. So all those questions will be collected here. So we will try to give you an answer. And again, I hope that it will like simplify the communication, because the main issue is in the Discord. Some really important questions might be lost, and here, like, they will be more evident. Okay, going back to the general requirements. Repository requirements. This question arose in today's Discord channels, so I saw it already. What repository you should be using? You should be using your personal private repo, and you will be having like a main branch. But from this main branch, you will create additional branches according to the rules of branches naming for each of the tasks. When the development will be complete, you will be making this branch public, so it will be available for the review. This branch should be public only for the duration of the review. So basically, the cross-check will be going next week. So usually just 1 week. After that, it should be made private again. Yeah, and please do not merge pull requests from the development branch to the main branch. So leave them as it is. So cross-code review process. So why do you need to make your branch public? Basically, to simplify the life for your colleagues who will be doing the cross-code review process. They will be cloning your repository, and they will be running your repository on their local setup. Well, this means that you need to ensure that your local setup can be run on different users' machines. So some of you will use Windows, some prefer using Linux. That's great. Some of you will be using macOS. Basically, there should not be any issues with running your code in any of those requirements environments. Yeah, so after cloning, installing the required dependencies, running linting, running tests when you will add tests, review the code. We try to put some details about things like code smells, like good design patterns, right? Of course, some of those things might be considered biased, but please read the documentation, read the course program, and try to stick with good recommendations. Okay, so I think, yeah, that's all about the cross-code review process. Let me go into some more details about our tasks. Okay, so task number one, it's about the project setup. So we try to split tasks to some technical requirements and application requirements. Basically, technical requirements you will see more in like first or second task, if I recall, but mainly focus on the application requirements. Application requirements, like you can consider as functional requirements. There might be questions from your side. So again, that's why we're trying to collect all the questions using this forum. That's why we have Discord. Yeah, so don't afraid to ask questions, but yeah, I mean that try to read the documentation first. Try to start the task first. I hope that it will also help you to understand the requirements better. I won't delve much into the application requirements right now. We still have some time, like next 6 weeks, to talk about each of those in details. For now, I can just give you some good advices on the tools which you can use together with VS Code or your different favorite code editor. You will need to pick an API. We decided to give you some curated list of APIs which you can use for the first 5 tasks, like Pokemon API or Star Wars API or a Star Trek API. Well, to be honest, I would prefer this Star Trek API because it has Swagger API. Oh, sorry, it has Swagger editor. If you're not familiar with Swagger editor, I really encourage you to take a look at that. And again, if you will choose this API, you will have a chance to do that. Basically, Swagger editor uses Swagger schema, or also it's known as OpenAPI schema, and it describes your API. So if sometimes, like sometime in the future, you will be working as a backend developer or full stack developer, which is highly likely, you will be dealing with OpenAPI schemas, and it uses YAML syntax, or you can alternatively use JSON. So YAML stands for yet another markup language. It's basically a simplified version of JSON, but without some curly braces. So yeah. So why do you need the Swagger thing, right? You can easily examine and play around with your API. So for example, here I can see that I have like an endpoint which is called animal. And from this endpoint, there is a search which I can post and make a query, or I can use get. So if I will use get, I will simply get my response. So you can see that here I can see my response body. Oh, actually, I've executed this request. I received a response, and you can see from here that I have a list of animals which I can display on my UI. Also, you can see some information about pagination, and this is also will be required for you to implement. I'm in the pagination, so yeah, take a look at this API. Yeah, also from the Swagger, you can see you can take a look at the curl, so you can just copy it, execute it, right? Again, you can play around with other sections. But besides like Swagger editor, there is another thing which I encourage you to try, and this is the thing which is called the Funder client for VS Code. So this is an interface of the Funder client. So you might recall that in the beginning of the session, I mentioned that our final model, you will be working as a team, and you will be building a custom implementation of Postman, right? Again, Funder client is similar to Postman. This is another thing which helps you to make requests. And you can see that you can make the same request which I made with the help of Swagger editor to the same API, right? So I can make a get request and get the same list of animals. Again, I can examine this list. I can basically, based on this JSON, I can create type definitions for my REST client on my UI, and eventually this list will be displayed on my main page. So yeah, again, take a look at the Funder client. Really encourage you to do that. Don't worry. I guess Funder client is listed in the theory. Okay, I guess in the final task. Yeah, yeah. So we have links to the final task here, and here we have a link to the Funder client. So yeah. Oops. Yeah, you can take a look at it. Okay, now let me move on. So task one, coming back to the requirements. You will set up your new project. You will add ESLint rules. You will set up it using Vite with template React TypeScript. TypeScript is a must. Like, without TypeScript, you will get, I guess, 95 penalties. And considering that you can have only 100 points at a max, I think it doesn't make sense to work without the TypeScript. You will integrate Prettier for code formatting, and you will add Husky to check your code on the pre-commit, and also you will add some linting comment and format and comment for the Prettier in your package.json. I've already mentioned RESTful APIs. For application requirements, basically you will be implementing kind of UI to display a number of items with a search bar, with like submit button. Eventually there will be a pagination, but yeah, let's work one by one. So here again, as I mentioned, 100 points for implementing all those technical and non-technical requirements, if everything's fine. Penalties, like as I mentioned, absence of TypeScript will give you minus 95. Usage of any should be avoided at all costs. Please try to use unknown and try to do proper typecasting instead of using any. Usage of TS ignore, again, minus 20 points for each. Basically, we understand that there are always exceptions in each of the rules, and there might be situations where it's very hard to go with without using any or without ignoring some TypeScript rule. But again, like consider the odds, think about consequences. Believe me, like it's possible to try and like fix an issue without going with those workarounds. Direct DOM manipulations inside the React component. I want to like discuss it more in more details. This is another question which usually arises during the courses. What do we consider under the direct DOM manipulation? Basically, it's things like document get element by ID, like document get element by class name, document query selector. All those things should be avoided in the React application. So React is about like a different mindset. It's about more declarative approach. Like it's not like jQuery where we use elements, we get elements from the DOM and manipulate those elements directly. So that's why minus 50 points. If you need to manipulate some of the elements, please use ref. And I think that there will be a topic dedicated to the use refs. I mean, that it will be a part of the hooks. So you can use references if you need an access to the DOM elements. Now, specifically, when you will be working with forms here, it will be one of them in tasks. But please avoid using document selector in any way. Okay, yeah, again, here, like just first task, minus 70 points to get access to the state via React hooks, like, or to get access to the component lifecycle. Let me reiterate one more time. I understand that you've heard this today, but believe me, we get those questions each time why we need class components. Learn class components just for 1 week. See how it's implemented. See how you can get those, how you can access the state. See how you can access the component lifecycle. Hooks will be starting from the task 2, so don't worry. Yeah, here we don't think you need to use Redux or any other state management library, minus 100 points. Why? Well, because if you will put some Redux here, well, most likely this code will be copied from somewhere else. So no need to do that. And another thing which you should be avoiding usage of any component libraries. Why? Because we want you to focus on the React during first 6 weeks. You would be allowed to use any component libraries you want. Same applies to any style frameworks you want on the final task. In this, during first 5 tasks, 6 weeks, please try to focus on React. And I think this covers some basic overview of your project setup. And let me quickly walk through other tasks just to give you a sense of what you will be doing. Yeah, I will be working quite faster for those. So yeah, task 2, you will add React routing, you will add pagination for the React routing. Again, main page will display search result, but you will add, again, with the help of React routing, you will add details section with the help of React Routelet. So for the points here, some of the things will remain, like TypeScript will be banned. Sorry, usage of raw JavaScript will still be banned. Usage of any will give you some penalties. Same as TS ignore. Same for the DOM manipulations. Yeah, but here there's another thing. Like it's about commits after the deadline, like minus 40 points. Again, we usually receive complaints. We understand there are different situations. and people might simply not have time because of this. Someone might get sick, right? So someone might be busy with his work. We really understand all the circumstances which you can face, but you also need to understand that rules should be similar for everyone. If we will start making exceptions, there will be always questions why he is allowed to make commits after the deadline and I'm not. So please try to adhere to all the rules, because again, rules are similar for all of you. So moving to the task 3. So task 3 will last for 2 weeks. This is like very, let's say, massive task. It includes several topics. It includes context API, Redux, Redux Toolkit, Redux Toolkit query. Again, why Redux? Partially I've covered this during the presentation, but so let me walk through it one more time. Just give me a second. So Redux is heavily used in many React applications which are already in production. Redux is still used for new application. You can check the number of downloads on npm, pretty huge. And to be honest, with Redux Toolkit, which reduced the boilerplates necessary to start using Redux, is really much easier to use it. And also we have Redux Toolkit query, which integrates well with Redux Toolkit, which you can use for making API calls. So I think it's a good conjunction, so you can use this setup. But again, you feel free to use different solution for your final project if you want. Like, we won't limit you in your final project. We just want you to have a good, strong foundation, and to study this foundation during first 6 weeks. So yeah, here on the Redux you can check what you will need to do. You can also check that here we also using context API. Sometimes, like, some people tend to think the context API could be a replacement for Redux as a context management solution. So here we try to give you an example of which context API can be used for. I prefer to consider context API as a dependency injection mechanism in React, to be honest. But again, you will have a lot of materials to study to get a difference, to understand the difference between context API and Redux as a state management solution. Okay, cool. Yeah. So what do we have here? Like, TypeScript isn't used, minus 195 points. Well, because you can get 200 points at a max here. Again, this is quite a huge task. It will last for the 2 weeks. So basically, like, each week might give you 100 points. Test coverage, like new requirements. Yeah, starting like from previous task, you will add tests, and on this task, you will also be checking test coverage for your colleagues' projects during the cross check. Why 80%? Well, like, test coverage of 100% is hardly achievable, and basically it will be a lie, right? You can just create some dummy tests which will be testing nothing. So 80%, this is kind of a reasonable number, which should give you like an overall overview of your components test coverage. And in case if something will be changed which will break your code, you will simply spot it thanks to the broken tests. Okay, so moving on. again, this remains like usage any, TS ignore. Well, I think I don't need to walk through those things. We've covered them. They will remain here. So let me move to next task, and this is a very interesting task. It's about server-side rendering and server-side generation. So here on this, during this part, you will migrate your project to the Next.js, but not only just migrate your project to the Next.js. We want to give you a different flavors of SSR and SSG. And although Next.js is de facto, again, an industry standard, like, it has its own pros and cons. Hopefully that you will be able to get familiar with all of them. But again, besides Next.js, we also suggest you to try Remix. And because of that, you will be creating two branches during this task. One will be for the Next.js, another will be for the Remix. So Remix is basically, you can use it as a plugin to the Vite setup. So with Remix, it will be easier to achieve SSR and SSG. But there is like one prerequisite here. Remix goes as a bonus. So if you will implement just Remix, you won't get any points. So in order to get points for the Remix part, you need to implement Next.js part first. Again, all those things are covered here. And also you can see that you can get 150 points at max for this task. Again, 50 points comes as a bonus for the Remix. Yeah, so one more point here. Again, Remix will be a part of React Router starting from the version 7. Guys who work on the React Router also work on the Remix. So like eventually we will get like SSR SSG for granted simply by using React Router inside React application. So pretty interesting time. Okay, and moving to the final task, which is forms in React. So here you will have to set up a new project. Again, as I mentioned, first 4 tasks, first 5 weeks are connected. So our final task with React Forms is a separate task. And here you will need to check how you can implement forms in React using different approaches. You will try and implement it using React hook forms, and you will try to implement it using so-called uncontrolled components approach using references. Again, like there are application requirements, different type of components which you need to implement. This is just to try validation using YUP validations. And here again, points are basically based on the application requirements. Penalties are quite similar to many of those previous tasks. Okay, and before I will go to the like final task, a few more notes about versions of React. We know that there is coming up the new major release of React, and like, but still we would ask you to use like the current one, 18th. Why? Well, because we want to give you an example of using more stable version. Of course, we might expect a new release during this course run, and for example, like when you will start working on your final task, there might be a new version, and you might be interested in trying it. To be honest, we haven't decided yet. Would we be banning it on the final task or not? Well, we'll see whether they will be released or not. Again, for the final tasks, we are still discussing the requirements. But yeah, now let me go to the final task. Yeah, before delving into the final task, React interview. Technical interview, some of you might walk through it, but this depends on the availability of mentors, and also it depends on whether mentors will be willing to conduct those technical interviews. So again, don't worry if you won't be able to participate in this, but if you will, yeah, it will be quite good experience. Yeah, might be helpful. Cool. And now let me move quickly through the final task, and we still will have, I hope, 10 minutes to walk through some of your questions. Yeah, please. Meanwhile, you can again start typing some important questions in the chat, because I'm afraid I won't be able to scroll through the chat and see all your messages. Okay, so REST on graphical client, as I mentioned, like you will be building some clone of the Postman, not identical, of course. It will be more. Okay, we are not asking you to implement like full-fledged Postman, right, or full-fledged Thunder client. Please try to implement just a requester, which you can use for making them, for making your requests. So you will get some experience working with different libraries, gluing them together. And again, this is a place where you can use things like material UI, like end UI, I don't know, some other libraries. Also, you will be using some open source, other open source tools, maybe for the GraphQL as well, to make requests to GraphQL. Yeah, you can basically walk through the requirements of our final tasks. But again, we will try to expand those. We will try to give some more details about application requirements, and give some more details about points, like cross-check criteria. Hope that, again, it would be helpful. But as I mentioned, we will try to make an additional webinar devoted to the final task, where we can go and see, like you can ask questions on this. Okay, cool. And now I think we can move to the questions part. So, okay, yep. So 19th is stable and was released a few months ago. Well, okay. Despite it has been released like a few months ago, there are still issues. And again, 18th version is really stable, and you need to study using 18th version, because well, with again with 19th there are still some issues, like there was one going on right now, and again, just try to use more stable versions. Believe me, it will help you in your work. Okay, I'm here with my friend. Can we join one team to make the final task? Yes, I don't think there will be any issues with that. When there will be final task, you will have, I guess there is even a chat where you can search for your teammates. But yes, you can register your team. But just think, be reminded that there needs to be like 3 people in the team. So consider this, and yep, you can find one more person and be as a one team. What about certificates? Are the conditions the same as or at stage 2? Oh, To be honest, I do not recall all the conditions for the stage 2. I advise to ask this question in Discord, so we will try to give you all the details. But I guess 70%, and yeah, you should complete all the tasks. From what point we will work in teams of 3? Okay, just one more time. Let me go to the main README. So task number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and 5 will be developed in isolation. So you would be doing it on your own. Starting from the week 7, you need to work on the final task, and this is where you will work as a team. But it's likely that you will have a mentor who will have several students, and mentor might combine you together as one team, right starting from the task 1, but it's not a must. I hope that this answered your question. Okay, and let me move on. Is TypeScript is a must to know to participate in this course? Yes, TypeScript is a must, and you will need to use it together with React template using Vite setup. I heard there are job opportunities for people who finish the course. Is it true? I can't answer these questions right now. If there will be job opportunities, I think it will be announced additionally. Can you use Tailwind or CSS for styling? Well, you can use CSS as part of first 5 tasks. For the Tailwind, yes, I think it's fine. We just ban UI libraries, so Tailwind is CSS framework. Yeah, please go ahead. Thanks a lot for the stream. Thank you for your comments. Will we have mentors, and are we required to have a mentor to get certificate? Unfortunately, no. I don't think you will have mentors. All of you will have mentors, but it's not required to have a mentor to get certificate. What is required is to finish all the tasks and get good score. Yeah, same 70%. What if I want to present the final by my own? Can I work alone in the final? And for the very first step, I need to create a personal GitHub repository for the task. Okay, so there are 2 questions. Let me answer one by one. First about the final task. The final task is quite huge one. And if you feel confident enough that you would be able to finish it by yourself, still probably it's better to work in the team. In your future work, if you if you're not already working on some project in some company, you will work as a team. It's very important for you to have this at least little experience of working in the team, of being able to split tasks and subtasks across the team. For some of you who will be marked as the lead of the team, it will be also a good experience of leading the team, which also will be very important in the future. As for the second question, yes, you need to create a personal GitHub repository for the tasks according to the requirements which we provided here. We have this tasks section, and main README of the tasks section has all the requirements to the repository. So please read through it. Okay. I finished stage 2 with certificates. Will I have mentor, and when is the deadline for dividing mentors? As for the deadline, I don't think there is kind of a deadline, maybe just a final task, because uh, like mentor will be coming up to the course during the course duration, and we would try to assign students with a higher score to the mentors when they will be arriving. So two certificates, it's really great. Mm, Yes, we will try it again. We will try to assign mentors to those students first who has highest score, who are coming from the previous stages. Um, yeah, but again, if you want to receive a mentor, it should not prevent you from trying to finish the course. It's not a must. Will GS front-end course and English 2023 Q for stage 2 graduates also get mentors, or that only for the root course? Should we request mentors and provide certificates, or are the organizers already informed? Okay, cool. To be honest, I don't think it's a root course. It's an like English course, so an official language of this course is English. Of course, because of the origin of the rolling skulls, we have a lot of people who are Russian speaking people, and we have a dedicated channels in the Discord devoted only to those who speak Russian and have some issues expressing their thoughts in English. But again, this course is an English course, and as for the mentors, I guess I've already covered it during previous questions. That yes, we will try to assign like new mentors to the students which have like certificates from previous stages and have more higher score. But again, it does not guarantee that you will definitely get a mentor. And again, having a mentor should not prevent you from finishing the course. Not having a mentor. Okay, I finished stage 2 and applied both React and Angular courses, but I prioritize React course. Can I notice it somewhere? Oh, interesting question, to be honest. Well, if you feel confident enough that you would be able to finish both of those courses, like we can't prevent you from doing that, obviously, right? But I guess it would be quite hard, to be honest, especially if you have work, if you have some other things in your life. So I would definitely recommend you like sticking to one of those courses. So if you prioritize React course, so maybe it makes sense to just walk through the React course. The reasoning behind this is also that like Angular and React, those are two different mindsets. I've already mentioned that React it's more about declarative approach, and Angular probably it's more about imperative approach. Also, Angular is a full-fledged framework with a lot of things which you need to learn, and React is a library with a rich ecosystem around the React. Sorry. So there definitely will be like a clash if you will try to learn both at the same time. Like Angular probably suits more for the developers who are coming from like Java world or C# world, because again, this is like an MVC framework with a suite of rules. But again, it's not. Don't consider me biased. Like I think that Angular is fine. It's great framework for the front-end developers. Same as React. So it's just a matter of personal choice. I've missed the point. Who will assess the task and score my solution? Looks like it should be one of course participant. However, I don't feel myself skilled enough to do so. Consider codes. Well, yeah. By the way, it's right here, like cross-code review process. Consider it as another thing for improve your knowledge and gain some more experience, because it's like eventually you will be doing some cross-code review during your work on the real project. You will be reviewing code of your teammates. So, and another thing is that like by working through someone's code, you're also learning and like getting good knowledge. And yes, please take a look at our recommendations, try to use those recommendations, and please do not afraid. We will try to come up with like a good average score, and also the extreme minimal scores will be thrown away. So in case if you worry about getting some poor score from not so um, let's say good students, good teammates, we will be just throwing away those minimums. So in case if you will, for example, get like 90 points and one with 30 points, these 30 points will be thrown away, and we will calculate an average of 90 points. Do I understand correctly that for the first task, we should use a ready React.js template to start the project and then just add another project tools, yes, link, preacher, etc.? Yes, your understanding is totally correct. You just need to start with Vite, with React.js template, and simply add things which usually like are presented on each production ready project. I mean, ESLint, Prettier, Husky, like the things which basically simplify your life. Yep. What about React Bootstrap plugin use? Oh, okay. Here we go again. Guys, about the questions of some specific thing can I use, right? So we have a ban for like UI component libraries. React Bootstrap, I don't know. I guess we need to take a look. Like, what what opportunities can you give to you? The main goal during the first 6 tasks is to focus on React. Like, if you will try to use some libraries which basically will implement everything for you, so what is the sense of learning React in that case? Will mentors check our works? Depends on mentors. If they are good mentors, probably they will. But I do not want to judge all the mentors and how they will conduct their communication with you, how they will do their work. It's up to them. So yeah, it depends on mentor. So he can review your work, he can give you some advices, or he may just guide you. And yeah, it depends on mentors. Tasks must be done using personal private repository or in the school's private repository. You should do your task in your personal private repository, and during the code review process, you should make it public just for the period of the cross-code review process, and then make it private again. Okay, it's an answer for one of the previous questions about Angular courses. I did enroll to the course, but I didn't see it in the school app. Is it okay? You can try to enroll it one more time. I guess you should be seeing it. Maybe you did something wrong. Will there be a Q&A sessions for any tasks? I guess you mentioned for every tasks. Okay. No, unfortunately. Okay, so there will be no dedicated sessions for every task, but there will be forms where you can give your questions, and we will give you answers during the forms. Why we consider this to be beneficial? Because we can reply on your answers, on your questions, like during, let's say, all the time, right? So I mean that we also have works, we also have families, and we really want to make your life easier. But again, sometimes we simply can't afford spend some more time. So if we have this form with all the questions provided, we can just process all the questions like in a bulk, right? So just walk through all of them and give all the answers. If we have a dedicated session, so people might not prepare their questions. Some questions might be repeated like quite often, but for example, as you can see in the current one, right? So we have some of the questions answered already, and we're still receiving those questions. So again, this is like a nature of people. Like, it's better just to give answers in text, and this is how this answer also will remain. So you can always refer to this spreadsheet, and you can always take another look at the answer if you forget it. I hope that it also clarifies it. Okay, do other students will check your, okay, it's an answer to one of the previous questions. Okay, Margarita, thank you as always. Okay, and again, answer to one of the previous. Is there anyone from Bulgaria? Georgia, frankly speaking, I don't know, but I hope there are. Like, we happy to see people from all countries around the world. So yeah. Okay, useful tip. In order to complete more than one course simultaneously, you should not have anything else in your life. Yep. And it's better to have 45 hours instead of 24, but yeah, okay. Okay, I think that we are, oh, okay, good question. Can we use a library API request for the first task like Axios? See, when you will start working on the Redux, you will switch to the Redux toolkit. But yeah, I think it's fine if you will use Axios, but I will definitely encourage you to try Fetch API. Fetch API is a native API available in browser. It's available in the latest Node also. I mean that it's better to use like something native instead of using some polyfills like or some like libraries which have also dependencies, right? So you will be bringing some more source code into your application, and believe me, when you're in the production and when every byte matters, like sometimes you just want to get rid of all the trash which you have in your code, like specifically about libraries which can be replaced by native API capabilities. Thank you, Margarita. Yes, I can't agree more. Thank you, Margarita, one more time. Several questions. If a student is allowed to correct task after submission, can the reviewer change the score? Oh, we ban commits after a deadline, so I guess it makes it impossible to make a correction. I mean, it's make it possible to make change in the code. Oh, at least not impossible. Okay, you will get 40 points penalty as a penalty. So if you are comfortable with it, yeah, please go ahead. As for the can a reviewer change the score? Like we faced this situation previously. Sometimes like sometimes reviewers might miss something and give you like less score. You can talk with the review. You can basically raise this question, and reviewers can, I guess, modify their score. What should I submit to get the cross-check? Link to the PR? Yep, a link to the pull request, but please Bear in mind that it should be made public before submitting it. I guess you can make it public after this, but yeah, let's do it before. Okay, how can I get a mentor? Okay, I guess we've covered it like several times. Is it necessary to deploy application GitHub Pages, Netlify, or somewhere else? No, it's not necessary for the first 5 tasks. For the final one, again, requirements for the final tasks might be subject to change. We'll see. Basically, you don't need any third-party APIs, or you don't. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the final task closer to the final task. For now, no, it's not required for the first 5 tasks. 25 hours an hour. Yep, also might be a good point. Can we create some groups based on the preferred language? Yep, you can, I guess. Well, basically, when you will be working as a team, you will have to find your teammates, right? And your preferred language could be one of the options, right? So it's up to you. But guys, just one note here, please. Be polite and try to avoid any hate speech which will be based on the language, people's origin, or something like that. Let's try to be open, and let's try to be collaborative. Let's try to respect each other. Okay, is it realistic to score 70% before the last group task? Yes, definitely. It's absolutely realistic. Based on the previous iterations, it was possible. Well, yes, in these iterations, we've updated and upgraded the tasks and the course, basically. But yeah, it should be possible. It's impossible. Well, it's possible. Okay, in the final task, you can use your teammate's mentor for getting points. Yep, you have also a good point. Okay, cool. I think, okay, could you repeat please about the deadline for the task or where I can find you? Thanks. Okay, again, for all those task requirements, for the repository requirements, you can check it here. This is basically about the repository requirements that you need to make it public for the code review. I guess it doesn't mention that your code review will last for the next week. Okay, I think we need to update it. Yeah, but so basically the code review, cross-code review process will last the next week. So let's say this week you will start working on the task 1, and the code cross review process for the task 1 will start when you will be working on the task 2. Hope it makes sense. Yeah, okay, so are there any mandatory prerequisite requirements exist to enroll this course? Okay, so again, as I mentioned, we assume that you will be coming from the previous stage and you have certificates, but it's not a must. So if you feel confident enough with your TypeScript, JavaScript, and basic HTML, CSS knowledge, it should be enough for you to start this course. Is it allowed to use Netlify or deploy? Oh, okay, guys, again, for the deployment, for the application deployment, for the first 5 tasks, it's not required. For the final task, we will be, again, clarifying those requirements. Okay, cool. I think that we are a little bit out of the time, so I try to answer all the questions. I am sorry if I missed some of those questions. So Right now, I will give you an opportunity to ask those questions using the form, which I've already showed you. Like I will give the link to the Discord. I mean the link with the form and the link with the spreadsheet with all the answers. So please feel free and like give your questions. And on this, I think we can end the stream. Thank you all for your attention. From our side, from the our team of the contributors who are working on this course, I really wish all of you luck, and I hope that this course will give you a good foundation on React and will be really a great starting point in your future career. So thank you one more time and have all a great course.